The hospital ship Mercy's hand drifted at the edge of the Kesri Reach, her hull painted white and red, running lights soft as candlelight against the void. No weapons, no shields worth mentioning, just medics, cots, and the quiet hum of machines keeping strangers alive. The Vex'thari called her Ashkelon, the soft target, not out of hatred, out of contempt. In their empire, mercy was a currency spent only among equals, and humans, to them, had never earned that rank. "They fly unarmed into contested space," said Fleet Commander Dries Voth, watching the tactical display aboard his warship. "Either they are fools, or they believe something protects them that we cannot see." His second, a younger officer named Iath, frowned at the readout. "Command has authorized testing their resolve. One shot. Disable her engines. See what the humans do." Voth said nothing for a long moment. Something about the idea sat wrong in him like a stone in a boot. But orders were orders, and the Vex'thari had never lost a war by underestimating an enemy's weapons. Only, sometimes, by underestimating what stood behind them. The first shot took out the Mercy's hand's port engine. No warning, no demand. Just a burst of plasma that tore through reinforced plating and sent the ship lurching, alarms screaming through its corridors. Lights flickered. In the surgical bay, a nurse named Elena Castillo grabbed a falling force stand before it could crush a sedated patient, bracing herself against the bulkhead as the ship groaned around her. "Report!" barked Captain Reyes Marlowe from the bridge, blood already trickling from a cut above his eye. "Engine 2 is gone, sir. We're dead in the water." Marlowe's jaw tightened. Outside the viewport, the Vex'thari cruiser loomed, patient as a predator that already believes the hunt is over. Communications crackled. A voice, cold and formal, filled the bridge. "Vessel identified as Mercy's Hand. You are in contested territory. Power down remaining systems and prepare to be boarded." Marlowe keyed the comm, and when he spoke, his voice did not shake. "This is Captain Reyes Marlowe, Terran Medical Corps. We have 312 patients aboard, including 41 of your people, rescued from the Carvos mining disaster 2 weeks ago. We are not now, and have never been, a combat vessel. Because surrendering means abandoning them," Marlowe said. "And we don't do that." Aboard the Mercy's Hand, chaos became purpose. Dr. Amara Okafor moved through the wounded with the steady calm of someone who had done this 100 times in 100 worse places. War zones, disaster sites, refugee camps back on Earth long before the stars ever opened up to them. She didn't flinch at the emergency lighting or the shudder of hull stress. She simply worked. "We're losing pressure in Bay 3, someone shouted. "Then we move them," Okafor said, already lifting a stretcher herself. "Nobody dies today because we panicked." Down in engineering, a young technician named Devin Price, barely 23, hands shaking with adrenaline, rerouted power with the desperate creativity of someone who'd grown up fixing secondhand equipment because that was all his family could afford. He wasn't a soldier. He wasn't a hero, not by any medal or title. He was just a kid who refused to let 300 people die on his watch. "Come on," he whispered to the console, sparks biting his fingers. "Come on, come on." The backup life support flared to life. On the bridge, Marlowe opened a wider channel, one that would reach every Vex'thari vessel in range, and, though he didn't know it yet, would later reach every screen across 100 worlds. "To whoever is listening," he said, "we are a hospital ship. We have no weapons and no intention of fighting. But we will not stop treating the wounded, any wounded from any species, as long as this ship still has power. If you want to stop us, you'll have to kill unarmed doctors and dying patients to do it. That's the choice you're making, not us." Inside the mining bay converted into a makeshift ward, 41 Vex'thari miners lay recovering from the disaster that had nearly buried them alive. Human doctors moved among them the same as they moved among their own, checking vitals, adjusting IVs, murmuring reassurance in broken but earnest Vex'thari phrases learned from translation pads. One of the miners, an elder named Usakel, watched Amara Okafor set a splint on a young Vex'thari's fractured limb with the same tenderness she'd shown a human child 2 beds over. "Why?" Usa asked, voice rasping through her breather. "We are not your kind." Okafor didn't look up from her work. You're somebody's kind. That's enough. Usa said nothing, but she remembered. On the warship, Commander Voth stared at the screen long after Marlowe's transmission ended, static hissing where the connection had been. Sir, Iath said carefully. Orders. Patch me through to Fleet Command, Voth said quietly. Tell them the target has changed its status. Recommend we escort the Mercy's Hand to the nearest repair station. Iath blinked. Sir, that shot already fired. Command will ask why we didn't finish. Because, Voth said, and for the first time in years, something in his voice sounded almost human. I have hunted through this galaxy for something worth more than conquest. I did not expect to find it painted white and red, flying without a single weapon. Word of the Mercy's Hand spread faster than any battle report ever had. Not because of what she destroyed, but because of what she refused to abandon. Species who had never trusted humanity began asking a different question. Not how strong are they, but what would they do for us, if we needed them? The Vex'thari Empire never issued an apology. Empires rarely do. But something shifted that day in the quiet space between fear and respect. The same shift that happens when a bully finally meets someone who won't hit back, and won't run either. Usakel, discharged weeks later, left the humans a single message before she departed. You could have let us die. You chose not to. My people will remember this longer than any war. And far away, in living rooms and starports and translation feeds across 100 worlds. That message repeated itself in 1,000 different tongues, carrying the same simple truth. Humanity had no fleet vast enough to conquer the stars. But it had doctors who wouldn't stop working, technicians who wouldn't stop trying, and captains who wouldn't stop caring, even with a gun pointed at their heart. And for the first time, the galaxy understood what it truly meant to be human. If this story moved you, subscribe for more human stories from the stars.